Hello, my neighbors.
You doing,
August Abo. Hello, my neighbors. August Abo. Momo Manta Vedru. Hey, hello, my neighbor. Hey, hello, my neighbor. Hey, Momo, hello, my neighbor.
August is here and Momo Month is back and bigger than ever. From now to the end of September, you stand a chance to win up to 10K Ghana Cedis cash just by paying with Momo QR code or merchant ID when you shop to accumulate reward points. And you could be one of the 2,000 winners this Momo month. Winners will be rewarded in August and September, so keep checking your points by simply dialing *120# and be on your way to a sweet reward for shopping safe and using Momo. Just Momo it. We dare for you everywhere you go.
"25 years of media excellence." Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. And this bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios here in Kokomlemle at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country including Radio Max in Takrade, A1 Radio in Bolgatanga, and Pando FM in Pando. We're also around the world at myjoyonline.com. In this edition, President Akufo-Addo touts his government's COVID-19 policies that have seen a significant drop in active cases, shooting the country's recovery rate from 89.5% to 95.1% in 3 weeks.
The number of active cases stands at 1,847. This is a clear indication the government policies are working.
But some health experts disagree with the figures being churned out. We'll speak to them live as new figures from the Health Service review new deaths, including a 9-week-old baby. Residents of Shiashi here in Accra rendered homeless due to a fire outbreak. They've taken to the streets to call for aid.
They should let the girl come. They should investigate the land. They should investigate the fire. We want the truth to come to pass.
We have details coming up shortly. Also in this edition, government tasked member states yet to ratify the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement to take advantage of the December's extension and endeavor to do so to enhance a modern free trade across the continent.
The effective implementation of AFTA will require sustained political will and commitment from the highest level of executive authority in each country.
In sports,
we'll tell you why the club licensing board will be compromising some of its requirements for the Premier League for the upcoming season.
Also in the bulletin,
you seem to be enjoying the feet washing ritual more than I expected.
I want to maybe do politics in the near future.
We should get that rubbish off the floor and get your pathetic life out of this room.
That's coming up on Spotlight this week. We highlighted the stories of Ghanaian movie stars who are taken to new roles that are far removed from acting, and also multimedia mourns the passing of Love FM Shura FM editor Saeed Ali Yaqub as he's laid to rest today. We have that and more coming up here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. Thanks for your company. Let's settle for details now. President Akufo-Addo is touting his government's COVID-19 policies, which he says has seen a significant reduction in the number of active cases. Currently, 4 out of the 16 regions, Savannah, Upper East, Upper West, and Northeast, are without any active case of COVID-19. We'll hear from the president shortly, but new figures coming in from the Ghana Health Service indicate more deaths. Head of our health desk, Fred Smith, joins me in studio. Fred, bring us up to speed on this new figure.
Well, its latest report in the Ghana Health Service gives us the new cases at 121 new cases recorded. That's one of the lowest we've recorded in recent times. And we've had 42,653 confirmed cases since the outbreak on 12th March. And we've had 40,567 recoveries or discharges. And that gives us 1,847 active cases, a further drop in the active cases. However, we've had some deaths in this latest reporting.
Including a 9-week-old baby.
8 of them, including a 9-week-old baby, male, who did not have any comorbidity in the central region, and that person has died. Another person also died in the central region, but this a 47-year-old female, and some other persons have died, 2 in the Ashanti region, 1 in Western, there's 1 in Eastern, and 2 in the Greater Accra region.
That's the head of our health desk, Fred Smith, bringing us the latest update from the Ghana Health Service. Well, President Akufo-Addo, in his 15th COVID-19 update, said his government's COVID-19 policies has resulted in a significant reduction in the number of active cases.
That we are steadily on the path towards limiting and containing the virus and ultimately defeating it. And I requested all of us to pay particular attention to the number of active cases. As of 24th July, the number of active cases, i.e. persons with the virus, stood at 3,307. As of Saturday, 15th August, 3 weeks later, the number of active cases stands at 1,847. This is a clear indication that government policies are working. Currently, there are no recorded COVID-19 cases in the Northeast, Savannah, Upper East, and Upper West regions, and I charge their residents to do everything possible to maintain that situation. Greater Accra, Ashanti, Central, Eastern, and Western continue to be the regions with the highest number of active cases. Thus far, a total of 40,567 persons have recovered from the virus. This means our recovery rate has improved from 89.5% to 95.1% in 3 weeks.
President Akufo-Addo will hear from the Ghana Medical Association shortly, but let's go on the phone for a quick analysis on these figures that have been put out. Dr. Benedict Kalistego, he's an epidemiologist and senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Medical School. We are thankful for your time here on the Midday News. So you don't seem to agree that evidence of reduction in active cases brings hope?
Oh, good afternoon to your listeners, and thank you for having me. We need to look at these pieces of information and the data carefully. It is one thing having data and another thing interpreting or misinterpreting the data. We have been testing for cases and picking up cases. Over the time, from the time we started this management, the number of testing is gradually declining. We are no longer doing aggressive testing as we used to do. Now, the number of active cases we have at any point in time is a direct product of our testing rates. If we are testing more and the disease is in the community, we'll be picking up more. If we are testing more and the disease is not there, we'll be picking up less. However, if we are testing less, it stands to reason that we would pick up less. So the number of active cases is just one side of the story. For any communicable disease, there are two groups of people you worry about as far as transmission is concerned. The active cases, those who have been diagnosed as having the diseases, that's one group. The second group are those who are asymptomatic but still have the capacity to transmit this infection. We refer to them as carriers. For the active cases, we have identified them and we are in the position to implement our isolation measures and treat them. How about those we haven't identified? These are the ones we should be worried about, bearing in mind that over 50% of even the diagnosed cases did not show any signs or symptoms. Okay. So the possibility that there are cases in the community which we are not picking up cannot be ruled out.
Okay, so what it is that we should be treading cautiously or rejoicing cautiously when we say that our active cases have gone down.
Cautiously. And it will be erroneous for anybody to say 4 regions have no cases, because we haven't tested everybody in those 4 regions. Okay. At best, what we can say is that for those who have been tested, no cases have been recorded. Then that would be giving the populace the right information. But if you say no cases occur in those regions, it presupposes that you have tested everybody and so you are sure there is no disease. Granted, we don't have the capacity to be testing everybody. That is a limitation. And so we should make this limitation known so that every result we turn out will be interpreted in the light of that limitation.
We're grateful for your time. We'll leave it here. This is a conversation that we'll have much later also in subsequent bulletins. That's Dr. Benedict Carlis Tego. He's an epidemiologist and a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Medical School. Well, the General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Justice Yangson, wants government to focus on rigorous testing as the president initiates plans to open up the economy.
As we ease the restrictions, we should be in a position to test as many people as possible as and when the need arises. For example, we are going to get the continuing students to go back to school, those in the tertiary institutions. These are huge numbers. Nobody is praying that we get infections in there. But in case there are any fallout, we should be in a position to do safe.
That's the General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Justice Yangson, speaking on Beyond the Lockdown on the Joy News channel last night. Meanwhile, President Akufo-Addo has directed the Aviation Ministry to engage the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, the Ghana Airports Company, and other stakeholders in readiness of the opening of the country's airports by 1st September. The Ministry of Health will this week, with its agencies, conduct a simulation exercise at the airports to establish the risk exposure in opening up the borders. President Akufo-Addo also took a swipe at people who earlier criticized the compilation of a new voters register, while charging the police to deal with people who contributed to the isolated cases of violence at some centers. He described the exercise as largely peaceful.
By the grace of God, the work of the Electoral Commission and the effective measures put in place by government, these prophecies of doom did not materialize. There were nonetheless deeply regrettable isolated incidents of violence, which I condemn unreservedly and which I expect the police to deal with without fear or favor. But the exercise was generally peaceful. The professional Jeremiahs and naysayers who seek cynically to make a profitable industry out of spreading falsehoods, fear and panic, stoking divisive ethnic sentiments, underestimate the resolve and the determination of Ghanaians to build a united, democratic, peaceful, prosperous, and happy Ghana.
President Akufo-Addo speaking his 15th update. What you're hearing are sounds from the East Legon electoral area today as dozens of homeless Yashi residents took to the streets to register their displeasure with a recent fire outbreak. According to the residents, media reportage have wrongfully blamed them for the incident. This has affected the ability to gain the required aid as close to 600 of them are currently displaced. They told Joy News the main suspect of the fires has been peddling falsehood. They are calling on the general public to reach out to them.
We were in need, we were crying. Our children don't have dress to wear. We ourselves don't have dress to wear. We cried the whole day. So if one person can do this, and the person will get away with this, and the person will run away, the government should stand up. Otherwise, we won't give up. They should let the girl come. They should investigate the land. They should investigate the fire. We want the truth to come to pass. Oh, when the police came, they said they will handle it. Until now, we haven't had it. Today, Monday, I thought they would come out. They didn't come out.
What the lady is saying, that one is not true. Yes. My madam she said when the thing started, she was up there. Into the fire extinguisher, Suman, the Baberman, it's on farm Rome. Into the person or the fire extinguisher, the Suman, the person should have told them, say, he doesn't know how to use it. Then when he gave it to them, they came and put it down. They didn't do anything. If they did it right away, it will not go this way. So they just took the fire extinguisher and they came and put it down. So she said, if the lady said nobody helped her, that one is lie.
You heard there some dozens of homeless Shiashi residents interacting with Joy News. Now, students of the Ghana School of Hygiene are for the second time in 2 weeks picketing at the premises of the Sanitation Ministry. They've demanded an immediate payment of the allowances which have been in arrears since 2017. The students accused government of deceiving them in earlier negotiations in a bid to secure some time till after the elections. In response, the ministry says it would constitute a committee to facilitate the release of the monies. Noah Tumfo is the Chief Director of the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources.
The ministry has decided that a committee be formed with you represented. That information has been given to your people. So now they are asking us to meet you and get your consent to be part of the committee. That's why I'm here. A committee to follow up the process leading to your... Okay. What you need to understand is that the letter that went to the minister is part of the process. You understand? It's part of... No. If you need money from government, you can't just go and throw your hand into the account and take it. It has to begin with the process. I'm done. Are you prepared to be part of the committee or not? I'm done.
But the students who came carrying mattresses, buckets, and gas cylinders say they will not leave until the allowances are paid.
I mean, the citizens of this country. I mean, the Kenyans. Why is that not listening to us? Why is that not coming to our aid? We need our money to give us our money. We need our money. We are not living here. If you want us to die, yes, we will die for you to do that. We need that money. We save their own. So annually, what is our ministry using our money for? We want to know the process they are talking about. What is the meaning? We have been here several times. Until when are we going to receive our allowances?
Some students of the School of Hygiene there. This is the Midday News. You're on Joy 99.7 FM. Sounds of the commissioning and handing over of the Secretariat building of the African Continental Free Trade Area after today to the AU Commission. So the AFTA has brought together all 55 member states of the African Union with the main objective to create a single continental market for goods and services with free movement of business, persons and investment. It will also expand intra-African trade. In his opening remarks, Trades Minister Alan Shermanton says the AFTA is expected to enhance competitiveness and better reallocation of resources.
Regrettably, Africa still remains the least integrated region in the world. Less than 15% of Africa's total trade occurs within the region. The paradox of Africa being the richest continent and yet the poorest could be partly attributed to this unfortunate situation. Distinguished invited guests, the successful implementation of the AfCFTA will bring many benefits to our continent. First, it will increase the level of intra-African trade with the harmonization and coordination of trade within the continent. It is estimated that intra-African trade would increase by as much as $35 billion or by 52% per annum by 2022. Secondly, AFTA will also address the challenge of small fragmented markets in Africa.
Trades Minister Alan Shermanton, my colleague Mami Esi Thompson is at the event. She joins us on the line. So, Mami Esi, we know that the President has also been touting and mentioning that Ghana has fulfilled its part of the agreement with the AU, amongst others. Tell us more.
Thank you, Emefa. So the President, like you said, has fulfilled this part, which is handing over the Secretariat of the AfCFTA, which is the office in which we are here today, that will be handed over to the first Secretary General as Millie. So he has been speaking he has been speaking, and he has also been telling us that he's taking the opportunity to grow the trade advantages.
There were many who did not believe African countries were ready to meet the required minimum threshold of 22 member state ratifications needed for the AfCFTA to come into effect. On 30th May 2019, a year later, after the minimum threshold was met, with Ghana and Kenya being the first to deposit on the same day their instruments of ratification with the AU Commission, the operational phase of the AFCFTA was launched as the agreement had become effective. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in Niamey, I assure that Ghana, as caretaker of the Secretariat, will put all the requisite facilities at its disposal so that it could run as a world-class organization. Indeed, as part of the hosting agreement, Ghana was requested by the Assembly to work with the AU Commission to ensure an expeditious and efficient process of establishing a permanent secretariat for the AFCFTA.
Now let's stay on government a while longer because it's justified the terms of the controversial Ejapa mineral royalty agreement approved by Parliament on Friday. Ejapa is an offshore limited liability company incorporated in Jersey, UK, a tax haven by the Minerals Income Investment Fund to manage Ghana's equity and royalties from gold resources. So the minority walked out as Parliament approved the deal, questioning why government is mortgaging Ghana's gold revenue for $500 million initial payments. They also question why Ejapa has been established offshore. But Chairman of the Mineral Income Investment Fund and Vice Chairman of Parliament's Mines Committee, George Duke, says the move is to protect future investors.
Jersey, because of tax purposes, you may have some tax incentives here and there that will obviously be beneficial to the state.
And additionally, possibly to hide the identities of those who may invest in the company in future.
Every investor would want to, preserve his or her interests. No investor would want to be exposed.
But that's where some of the analysts then push it. That's probably you in the MPP are doing this for your own benefit, because eventually then you go back and invest in the company.
Every step that we've taken is brought to the fore, transparently displayed. I don't think we have anything to hide.
This is the Midday News, and we'll take a quick break. When we return, Joy News begins a series on phenomenal Ghanaian leaders and the achievements of great personalities today with the premiere of the life of John Ejekumkufo on Ghana's Greats.
What is your government doing about JJ, about the remarks that they are making?
The people of Ghana reacted, and they reacted very, very effectively.
And also multimedia mourns the passing of Love FM Shore FM editor Saeed Ali Yaqub as he's laid to rest today.
He also edited our work. So for me, I used to call him the editor's editor.
The Ministry of Monitoring and Evaluation, in collaboration with the Ministry of Information and the Office of the Senior Minister, bring to you
Town Hall Meeting and Virtual Results Fair.
The Virtual Fair series will give ministries, departments and agencies yet another opportunity to exhibit the progress of implementation of projects, especially the government flagship program for the citizenry.
Date 18th of August 2020.
The MDAs will take turns to showcase results of projects and programs implemented across the country. Be part of this virtual experience. Interact with implementing agencies and help deliver the desired results.
Although a lot has been achieved over the past 3 years, there's still more work to be done to transform our country.
The Virtual Results Fair, delivering results for our citizens, a work in progress.
The European domestic football action is heading for a big finish as the 2020 UEFA Champions League takes center stage. It's all on the line as Man City, PSG, Barcelona, Juventus, Bayern Munich, and Real Madrid face off in an action-packed mini-tournament. Catch it live on SuperSport from the 7th of August. Get DSTV and find out who will be crowned champions of Europe.
Oh my goodness, you cannot write the script for this. This is unbelievable stuff.
Thanks so much for your company. Let's do sports now.
And the Club Licensing Board will alter its requirements on Premier League clubs for the upcoming season. The GFA has tabled an October return date, but clubs are unlikely to meet licensing requirements due to constraints caused by COVID-19. Kwame Bamiako is the chairman of the Club Licensing Board.
Club Licensing Board level, you cannot, for instance, use the same metrics that we applied last year in measuring who qualifies for a license, because it will depend even on the format in which the game is played. So if you look at some of the proposals coming up, you might not have a full football season. The number of matches will be limited. The venues to be used might also be limited. And it might not be a decision of a particular club to use a particular venue. It might be the choice of the FA to say that, look, these are the limited number of venues we are going to use for the season. In that case, do you then ask a club to apply for a license to use a particular venue? Because that venue was not the choice of the club. It becomes the choice of the FA. And so who applies for a license to use the stadium? It is now the FA. So as a club licensing board then, so the whole matrix has changed.
Kwame Baniok is the chairman of the Club Licensing Board. End in sports.
Thank you very much, Hans Mensando. Now the media space gets saturated with news stories and tributes pouring in and eulogizing the life of leaders and outstanding individuals when they die. But truth is, the dead can't hear or watch all the great things that those living speak of them. That is why Joy News, through its Ghana's Great documentary series, is committing to tell the stories of phenomenal leaders and the achievements of great personalities while they are still alive. This week, Joy News premieres the life of John Ejekum Kufuor on Ghana's Great, telling the stories of greatness.
What is your government doing about JJ, about the remarks that he has been making?
The people of Ghana reacted, and they reacted very, very effectively.
I found him to be a brilliant art scholar and also a person born with innate wisdom.
He showed that within the period of 8 years, if you have the right policies, there could be very good social intervention measures which could give people the hope that things are possible, that things could be done.
We have this huge problem, a dislocated economy to work on.
The country was bankrupt. Worse than it is perhaps today people think we were bankrupt in 2016. The country was bankrupt. That's what led to the declaration of the HIPIC status. Why do we go HIPIC? Some kind of pride. But the fact is that we were bankrupt. And nobody has asked why we were bankrupt. Because there was a leader then, isn't it? There was a leader for 19 years.
Ghana's Great airs later this evening on the Joy News channel at 8 p.m.
Headline news at 4. In this edition, Ashanti region rose to be fixed under nationwide infrastructure investments.
It's been a sad weekend for the multimedia group as we mourn one of the longest serving employees, Love and Ishira FM editor Said Ali Yakub, who passed on Sunday morning. Some of his proteges, current and former colleagues, as well as people who know him, have been paying glowing tribute to him on social media. Prince Apia filed this report about the man, Said, and the impact he's made.
Over the years, he has risen from being an intern to the news editor for Love FM and Ishra FM. As a news editor, he would not only edit your work, he became a teacher who made sure anyone who came to the newsroom learned and became better.
Yes, he was a professional journalist. He was the editor, and though some of us were editing colleague works, he also edited our works. So for me, I used to call him the editor's editor.
Under him, many have been trained to become great journalists in Ghana. Motorboy award-winning Joy FM said Kwame Boateng.
He took me from the reception of Love FM to the newsroom, so that's how my journey to the newsroom started. It's very piercing.
Elton John Broby. Adum TV's Nanase Ampofweje, and Samson Ladi Ayenene, host of Newsfile.
The journalism that I do, I didn't learn it from any journalism school. I learned it from the newsroom under the leadership of Said Ali Yaqub.
My colleague Prince Apia filed that report, and the man, Ohiming Terrier, he worked closely with Said Ali Yaqub. He joins me in the studio. So how are you all coping? How did you receive the news?
Emefa, it's been very, very difficult. This is a man I've worked with for the past 17 years. And to hear that he has passed on is difficult. Something that I still can't, content with. I don't believe Said is gone. For me, I still don't believe.
Well, how is Kumasi receiving the news, though?
Everybody who hears the news of Said's death is shocked because this is a man who buried his mother just a week ago, and the following week, he's gone.
That's my colleague, Ohiming Terrier.
Headline news at 4. In this edition, Ashanti region rose to be fixed and the nationwide infrastructure investments.
That's the sounds that we'll not hear again. That's of Said Ali Yaqub, is a Love FM and Ishra FM editor. We lost him over the weekend. May his soul rest in perfect peace. And that's how we end this afternoon's edition of the Midday News. You're on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I'll be right back with Living Word, approving the things that are excellent.